The hum of the city was a constant, low thrum against Roric's cybernetic implants, a symphony of forgotten desires and manufactured dreams. Above, the perpetual twilight of the inner rings was cut by the violent slashes of neon, painting the rain-slicked ferrocrete streets in lurid purples and searing blues. This was the city, a sprawling, hungry beast of a metropolis, where even the shadows vibrated with secrets. Roric, a man whose past was as carefully edited as the memories he now dealt in, moved with the quiet grace of a predator. His office, a cramped alcove tucked between a synth noodle stand and a flickering holographic fortune teller, was a sanctuary of sorts, a place where the most intimate corners of the human mind were bought, sold, and twisted. Tonight, a new client. Anonymous, as always, but the data packet crackled with the kind of credits that made even Roric's cynical heart do a double take. It spoke of a young socialite, one of the gilded elite from the pristine Sky Spires, and a 2-week period she desperately needed excised. Trauma, the encrypted message stated, a blot on an otherwise perfect life. Roric powered up his neural editing rig, the delicate tendrils of the mind splicer gleaming under the dim light. He'd seen it all: shattered romances, corporate espionage, inconvenient truths. But tonight, as the first tendrils of the client's consciousness began to unfurl, a different kind of static buzzed in the air, a whisper of something far more profound than personal tragedy. Roric strapped the young socialite, Ulara, into the sleek neural interface chair. Her eyes fluttered, dark lashes against pale skin, as the sedative took hold. She was a delicate thing, a product of privilege, oblivious to the grime and grit that built the foundations of her world. Roric's fingers danced over the holographic interface, navigating the labyrinthine pathways of Ulara's mind. The memory he sought was tagged, a 2-week span flagged for deletion. He began the extraction, the tools precisely calibrated, designed to lift the specific data without collateral damage. But as the fragments began to coalesce, something was wrong. The initial data signature, masked as trauma, began to shift. Instead of the expected horror, he saw flashes of architectural schematics, hushed conversations in dimly lit council chambers, and the faces of powerful figures he recognized from the city's ubiquitous propaganda feeds. This wasn't personal trauma, this was systemic. A visceral shock coursed through Roric. The memory fragments, instead of neatly isolating, clung to his own neural pathways, a digital virus burrowing deep. He saw towering structures collapsing, not from accident, but from deliberate sabotage. He heard the echoes of screams, not of individuals, but of entire communities displaced, erased, their history paved over to build the gleaming sky spires where Ulara lived. The massive lie the client wanted deleted wasn't just a secret. It was the bedrock of the city, the entire city center, built on the bones of a forgotten past, a past deemed inconvenient by the ruling council. Of course there were the others too. Suddenly, a jolt. The connection to Ulara's mind violently severed. Roric ripped off his own neural cap, gasping, the fragmented memories still sparking in his mind like phantom pains. He knew he had absorbed too much. He now carried the truth, a truth the council would kill to keep buried. His comm unit chirped, an encrypted message from an unknown sender. The words were terse: "You have something that doesn't belong to you. Return it, or be returned." He knew who it was. His former colleagues from corporate security, the hounds of the city, relentless and efficient. They knew his methods, his safe houses, his weaknesses. He was hunted. The chase was a brutal ballet through the lower rings. Roric, fueled by adrenaline and the burning fragments of truth in his mind, navigated the crowded markets and forgotten alleyways. He saw his pursuers in every shadow, in the glint of chrome on a passing hover bike. They were good, better than he remembered. Their cybernetic enhancements made him faster, their neural networks linked, anticipating his every move. He ducked into a derelict data haven, the air thick with the scent of ozone and stale synth smoke. His heart hammered against his ribs. He needed a plan, and fast. The memory fragments were a double-edged sword, a weapon of truth, but also a beacon for his hunters. He could feel them trying to pierce his mental firewall, attempting to extract what he'd stolen. He pulled out his comm unit, accessing a secure channel. There was one person who might help, a black market info dealer known as the Archivist. The Archivist traded in secrets, in raw data, no questions asked. Selling the fragments to him would guarantee Roric's freedom, a ticket to anonymity in the outer sectors, far from the reach of the Council. But it would also bury the truth forever, reducing the suffering of thousands to a mere data transaction. As Roric initiated the data transfer, a new memory fragment flashed through his mind, sharper than the others. He saw a child, thin and ragged, staring up at the newly constructed sky spires, his face etched with a desperate, hopeless longing. A pang of unexpected empathy pierced Roric's hardened resolve. This wasn't just data, it was the echo of a life, a future denied. Suddenly, the door to the data haven exploded inward. Two corporate security operatives, their faces emotionless behind augmented visors, stormed in. Their energy weapons hummed, casting eerie green light on the dusty interior. "Roric," one of them rasped, "return what you stole. It's not worth your life." Roric knew he had to make a choice. The Archivist's payment was seconds away from confirmation. Freedom. Or, he could gamble everything on exposing the truth. His hand hovered over the "confirm" button, his mind racing. Technology, humanity, emotion, they collided in a deafening crescendo. In a flash, Roric made his decision. He slammed his fist down, not on the "confirm" button for the Archivist, but on a different, far more dangerous command. He initiated a public data burst, a torrent of raw, unedited memory fragments, aimed at the city's vast, interwoven public networks. It was a suicide run. He would be exposed, hunted even more relentlessly, but the truth, even in fragmented form, would be out. The corporate security operatives fired, their energy blasts tearing through the data haven. Roric felt a searing pain as a bolt grazed his arm, but he gritted his teeth, watching the data upload indicator race to completion. The city's screens, usually displaying corporate advertisements and vapid entertainment, began to flicker. Distorted images of the sky spires collapsing, of forced evacuations, of council members whispering dark secrets, momentarily flickered across them. A ripple of confusion, then alarm, spread through the streets. Roric collapsed, the pain in his arm a dull throb compared to the exhilarating, terrifying release of his actions. He looked up at the flickering screens, seeing the first seeds of doubt, of awakening, planted in the minds of the oblivious populace. He knew his life as Roric, the memory broker, was over. He might be wiped clean, or worse, but he had chosen truth over convenience, humanity over anonymity. As the operatives closed in, Roric allowed himself a small, defiant smile. The city would never be the same. The electric shadows, for a fleeting moment, had been pierced by the painful, undeniable light of truth. He wondered if Eulara, somewhere in her luxurious sky spire, would ever glimpse those flickering images, if even a ghost of the truth he'd tried to save would awaken in her own carefully curated mind. Perhaps, in the vast, interconnected web of the city, a new story had just begun to unfold, one where the cost of remember to subscribe. Truth was no longer paid in silence, but in revolution.